Well, every so often a problem arises and somebody has a bright idea. If we do this, our problem will disappear. Only to find it didn't. It just gave us a much bigger one. It's a bit like in the haunted house films where someone says, oh, let's split up, we can cover the house much quicker. Well, Legacy Auto has just split up and they're likely to come to a similar sticky or gory end. Hi, I'm Dave. Welcome to Dave Takes It On. Well, Legacy Auto a long time ago discovered that they were great at assembling cars. They were pretty amazing at designing what their customers wanted to buy, usually, or good at convincing us that's what we want to buy. They were good at manufacturing certain components and very, very good at arranging supply chains for the others. But nobody in the entire company was a specialist in writing software programs that would run these newfangled EVs. Nobody. Well, a recruitment drive was called for. They employed some of the best. Some people out there must know. Let's get them in. Let's just employ them. Well, a number of years later and millions of pounds or dollars later, possibly billions, most of them got round to realising that while the people were very good at hanging a door or assembling a gearbox, they could be taught that really quite quickly and they got very good at it, very efficient. But that same person, when you sit them in front of a computer and ask them to write a software code to run an EV, millions of characters, that took a bit longer. Well, no, let's be realistic. They had no idea at all where to start, and their college or university degrees in software coding was actually of little use with the task they were facing. Well, eventually, after multiple attempts, they all failed to produce a world-beating premium final product that was the envy of the EV world. Yeah, they all made some, but not the envy. So in desperation, they then thought they need to go to actual experts who know what they're doing rather than theoretical experts straight out of university. So they went to China, and over there they were writing their own terrific bespoke programs in-house that were actually the envy of the world. But then they found out, well, you can't actually make a silk purse out of a sow's ear. What they asked them to produce was not possible with the original equipment they were being handed. All poured in billions, GM, Ford, Volkswagen, and none produced the desired result. It was a bit like trying to install a top-of-the-range NVIDIA graphics card onto an iPad to improve the gaming performance. Doesn't work. So another new approach was needed: joint ventures. They would buy into a Chinese company with the right abilities and change what they were supplying them to what they wanted. They tried supplying them with pig's ears. Now they changed that and supplied them with silk material at huge expense. Surely nothing could go wrong now. But yes, Murphy's Law struck big time. Well, Murphy's Law states if anything can go wrong, it will go wrong. What they were supplying the joint venture now was quite capable of being turned into silk purse. And the results initially were really promising, but Murphy was waiting to pounce. The USA and Europe, in an attempt to bolster up their domestic industries and level the playing field, cutting out the cheap imports, they imposed tariffs onto Chinese products. And that on its own should have been a red flag. But it came on the back of the Huawei fiasco. Well, for those who don't remember it, the entire mobile phone network of the world was slowly and quietly being eaten up by a Chinese firm called Huawei. And many, including the US military, were concerned that the Chinese would have full and total access to their secret military and civilian communications. In response, Huawei was banned from any access in any way into the US communications network, even at the component level, in case they sneak something in there. Overnight, Huawei disappeared from the mighty US of A. Many other countries followed. So how did Volkswagen, GM, Ford, Stellantis, Dodge, Ram, Citroën, BMW, Porsche and all the others think the American government would react to having all of their EVs driving around gathering up data, images, video footage of the whole of America, including video driving past top secret military bases or someone parked on a hill overlooking it. Oh, not an issue, they thought. But it turns out it's not only an issue, it's a massive issue. America is now on the point of banning all EVs and ICE cars, they have them as well, if they have any Chinese software or operating systems or apps on board. And guess what? Every single one did, and every single one does. And unfortunately, there's no answer. They went to China because they couldn't do it themselves, and they just bought up companies and experts. They probably had little knowledge of exactly what they were buying. They just provided the spec and the money. So now Murphy is once again ruling supreme. In America, it is likely that they will be banned from supplying and selling EVs or ICE cars that have any Chinese software on board. Now in Europe, they'll probably get away with it. Europe's not so paranoid, so it might allow these programs, but they will definitely be hit really hard because the core operating system will be 100% Chinese. So not totally in the clear. Well, who's affected? It's Legacy Auto. You don't need to list them. It's Legacy Auto, full stop. And let's have a look at what they've been doing, because we can look at some of the recent press releases. Let's look at Polestar. It's beautiful. There's a Polestar release stated the joint venture is expected to strengthen Polestar's offer in the Chinese EV market by bringing together Polestar's capabilities within design and performance with the software and consumer electronics hardware and development expertise of Jingji Meizu. Hope I pronounced that right. As if that wasn't bad enough, what about Geely? With their joint venture with Polestar, Mercedes and London Taxi Company, they actually advertise the following. This is Geely, I'm quoting now, May the 23rd. Geometry has launched 6 models, mostly sedans, the last of which were the G6 sedan and the M6 SUV in November 2022, both of which featured, wait for it, Huawei's Harmony operating system. Huawei? Did nobody else notice that little snippet? Well, the list of who does what covers just about all Chinese big names that are now appearing in America, in Europe, and companies like BYD, Geely, XPeng, SAIC, Chery, Great Wall, oh, it's all of them. Well, let's make it easy. Just say all of them. Well, over here, Ford, GM, Volvo, Stellantis, Mercedes-Benz, BMW, well, again, let's make it short, call all of them. All of them apart from Tesla. And that really now is the interesting one that should have raised a million red flags. See, Tesla years ago somehow or other managed to negotiate a deal to manufacture in China as a private company. This is unique because to this day they are the only company to do so. All other companies, every single one, is required to form a joint venture. Tesla was probably given a total exemption as China desperately needed to learn how they made the world's best-selling EV. You can bet when the Giga Shanghai factory opened, I guarantee half the workers turning up for that very first shift were Chinese spies and industrial espionage experts with one goal: go and find out how they do it and bring it back to us. But Tesla also compromised in that they were not allowed to store any data that their EVs gathered anywhere in the world, but specifically in China, other than storing it in China. They could not use it and integrate it into their already huge database back in America, building up the self-driving data because, let me stress this one, China did not want any of the data, photographs, videos or communications going anywhere other than China. Has anyone out there heard that one before? Oh, rewind the video. How on earth did Legacy Auto miss that? Miss the advertising of Huawei software programs? In fact, miss everything? This should have been stopped and killed stone dead the second someone said, hey, let's use Chinese software, including Huawei programs, in our EVs that we sell into America. Nobody did. Well, this is a blockbuster, you see. America can't really back down. They can't have Chinese software driving around America gathering data, nor can the legacy autos simply remove it and insert their own proprietary programs. The reasons they're using Chinese in the first place is they don't have their own, and nor are they able to write their own. I certainly won't be able to start from scratch now and be exporting next week. Well, this is absolutely drastic, but that should have been seen such a long time ago. Well, obviously, I suspect now there's going to be some frantic negotiations going on behind the scenes, but there is no easy answer. The most likely short-term ruling is that any vehicles with Chinese software will be banned from sale in the USA. But what happens to those thousands and hundreds of thousands of EVs that are already driving around America, recording all they see, hear and detect? Running Chinese software? The BMWs, Mercedes, Volkswagen, all of them will have Chinese software in it. Could they also face a total ban? Car you've been driving for the last 2 years, banned overnight. Well, it's possible. Well, in the long term, all non-Chinese manufacturers will have to develop or source their own operating systems from non-Chinese companies. And in a staggering dose of irony, the most obvious supplier will likely turn out to be an American EV manufacturer that was writing its own software a decade before they opened their first EV factory in China. Get a clue? They wrote their own proprietary software back then. No one else was doing it. And they still do to this day. And the software they write today is not the stuff they use in China. And the software in China is not the stuff they use in the rest of the world. I'm not even going to mention their name other than to say that several large legacy auto companies are already in negotiations with them, in talks regarding operating systems, FSD and charging software. You must know who it is now. And who's to blame? Well, thanks for watching. I'm Dave. If you've enjoyed this, please click the like button. And if you want to see more, please click subscribe. Massive big thank you to our Patreon members. Anyone interested in supporting the channel, have a look at the Patreon. There's a link down below. Lots of goodies in there for you. I'm Dave.